Hi guys, thanks for watching in today, and I am very happy to be interviewing Stefan from Sensate today. And basically, Stefan and I were introduced through a mutual friend when they told me about this meditation device that I had to have a go on. And the funny thing is that I've always had struggles with meditating, and when I had a go on this device, I couldn't believe how awesome it was, and I've been a big fan ever since. So I'll let Stefan go into the details in a minute, but Stefan, welcome.
Thank you. Good beer, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So let's get straight into it. What is Sensate and how does it work, in your words?
Yeah, so Sensate is a technology, a platform really, because you use it with an app, which there is obviously lots of functionality for, and we'll be introducing more functionality throughout the year, including being able to measure your biometrics, etc. So it functions with an app that plays the tunes in your headphones and the device itself, which sits on your chest when you're lying down. It's what we call the Sensate Pebble. And it's the mechanism essentially is full frequency sound. So everything that the ear is capable of hearing through the headphones, but then the sub-audible frequencies, the infrasonic frequencies, which the ear can't hear, are relayed to the device, which then plays those through bone conduction into the chest. So the human hearing can't really perceive much below about 30 hertz. But these are very important frequencies, and these are the kind of things that you feel in concert halls or in churches where the organs are playing some really low frequency stuff. It's also the kind of frequencies that we reproduce when we're omming and chanting and humming and doing special breathing techniques. So essentially what it does is we produce the low frequency register synchronized with the audio bit to produce these kind of deep meditation or relaxation or profound calm states.
So what you're saying is, Stefan, is basically it's a meditation device that sits on your chest that, and I know you don't like the word vibrates, but pulsates, let's say, and it synchronizes with the audio in your headphones to take you deeper into meditation. Now, my take on this is because when I am trying to clear my mind and meditate, I'm often in my mind too much and I'm not in my body enough. And in the moment, what I find the device does is it makes me focus on my chest and my breathing, and brings me back into my body, which drags me out of my mind, which is why, like, the first time I used it, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And it was in your office in near Harley Street, I think. And I just remember lying down on the couch and I'm just thinking, I feel miles away, like, this is so good. And I remember, like, because it's not necessarily just the same vibration over and over again, it pulsates and does different things in different patterns. I found that I was not expecting what it was doing next. Therefore, my breath work seemed to work really well with it as well, which is what resonated with me so well. And so how does that actually work in terms of the vagus nerves and what it does to your stress levels then?
Yeah, so we do say that the Sensate is not a meditation device. And we definitely don't think of it as a replacement for meditation. I'm a lifelong meditator. Dad taught me to meditate, and my brother when I was 5 or 6. I've been meditating for a very, very long time. And it's not a replacement for that. Sensate really is primarily a technology for all the many, many people who have tried to meditate or who actually feel more active or activated or indeed even anxious when they notice their breathing or they try to use a meditation type app or meditation type music. So if you like, it's a pathway to a meditation practice if that's what you want to end up developing. But the immediate experience, and it's designed to be immediate because otherwise people won't use it in the kind of numbers that we're interested in, is that it's profoundly calming and relaxing within moments. It's designed to work within 10 minutes. It works within 10 minutes for 98% of users. And it's based on my experience over the last 30 years in my practice that people were coming to me to learn how to relax and learn how to meditate, but increasingly they were finding it difficult to actually do that. So, meditation and breathing are free. But the fact is, most people struggle with both of these things. And I think over the last year in particular, we've really seen that people's difficulty and stress levels and anxiety levels have become more and more apparent. I would actually say that was already there. There's been a tsunami, we call it, of anxiety and stress for a long time. And really, the events over the last year have just shone a spotlight on quite how acute
Yeah.
How broad that is. By sitting on the chest and reproducing the kind of effects that you could do yourself potentially with certain types of breathing techniques, which you could learn how to do, or humming or chanting, which make the chest resonate and hum. What you're doing is because it's going through bone conduction, you're turning the whole chest, the whole thoracic cavity, into like a resonating cell. And we will have all experienced this, right? When we sing or hum. Humming is something which also has a very, very similar effect, and is one of the techniques which is known to benefit the vagus nerve. But by using Sensate, you're doing it in a very controlled, a very consistent, and also a very passive way. And it's the passive that's actually really important, because as you were just describing, I think the struggle that a lot of people have with relaxation and breathing and attempts at meditation is that they're approaching it as an intellectual pursuit. So they're thinking, am I meditating? Which of course, pretty much by definition, will stop you from meditating. And it was that experience of my patients that led me to develop something which has a passive use case. So in other words, you put it on, you pop your headphones on, you play Go on the app, and actually you don't need to do anything whatsoever. You will relax whether you think you are or not. And we do measure that through biometric markers, including HRV and breathing rate and heart rate, etc. And in terms of the physiology, the whole autonomic nervous system, or the main branches of it, pass just under the sternum here, the chest bone. So it's a fantastic place to allow this area to receive vibration feedback, which enables it to self-regulate. So Sensate is not a vagus nerve stimulation technology. I'll say that again. Sensate is not a vagus nerve stimulation technology. We're not using any kind of electrical stimulation. It is pure sound, audible sound and infrasonic low frequency sound. So it's very safe, non-invasive, and very natural in that sense. It's really just reproducing the kinds of things that you could, and people could do yourself, and that human beings have done for thousands of years in more traditional environments.
It's actually really funny, because you say about for the vagus nerve, in terms of om and humming, it's actually one of the audio tracks with the device. Is actually the one that you played when I first tried it, which is really interesting. It's actually amazing, very, very good.
Thank you.
I still find today that that's the most effective one for me, actually, and the one that resonates with me the most. And I think that's probably because it's my first experience, and it's like our first experience often is our most favorite. We remember that as the benchmark. I think, like Back to the Future 1 versus Back to the Future 2, the original is always the best.
Isn't it interesting how you use the word resonate? Because that is literally what we're doing here. We're creating a resonance of vibration in pretty much the whole body by making the chest resonate.
But the other thing is that this is something that Ricky Warren taught me, who's the movement coach, should I say, that yoga specialist, calisthenics guy, who was a speaker at our summit last year. For guys who want to check him out, it's rix.official, RIX.official on Instagram. He was teaching me about waking up certain nerves in the spine, for instance. So, for instance, if you want to fire a muscle, and and if he says, Tim, fire this muscle here, and I can't do it, and he put his finger on it and they say, now fire it, then it wakes up the nerves to the area, and then you can fire it much better. So people that have like a static spine, that can't bend properly and aren't very good with movement, or aren't good at firing muscles, then giving it a stimulus actually wakes it up and helps it wake up. Now, my assumption about Sensate, and I'd love you to correct me or tell me your opinion, is obviously if you are using the device on your chest here, which is obviously on the bone structure in the center of your chest, and it's sending vibrations through, it's obviously waking up more, again, stimulating the vagus nerve. I guess it would be in a similar way of actually mimicking the natural thing of humming or whatever, which then is stimulating us, therefore waking up the nerves, which then helps the whole system work better.
Yeah, I mean, we're creatures of tactile feedback. The first sense would have been the sense of vibration. Before we had eyes or ears, we would have sensed the world around us by vibration feedback. And we're acutely hardwired to feel physical sensation. Yeah, much more than we are to feel intellectual or even emotional, and certainly intellectual type sensations or discussions. So we know this, right? Any physical touch, we need physical touch. Babies need to be hugged. We need to be hugged. We love stroking animals. And this talks to our nervous system more deeply than any conversation can. It's not the conversation that matters to us, it's the connection. And if there's physical connection involved as well, then that's even more deep and meaningful for us. So we don't think we stimulate anything. We think what using Sensate does is enable people to self-regulate. So by creating physical feedback into the body, which is very similar to what we recognize in friendship or in love, or even the kind of bone conduction conversation that a mother has with its baby, which all takes place through bone conduction when the baby's in the uterus. The sense of vibration is immediately interpreted as one of safety and physical contact for us. Now, of course, there are frequencies which can be disturbing. But of course, we understand this process, and we write tracks which focus on and use just the frequencies and the combinations of frequencies which have regulatory and balancing and harmonizing effects for the mind and the body. And the autonomic nervous system, what we call the gut-brain superhighway, is mostly the vagus nerve, and it passes from the brainstem right down through all the organs into the gut, actually into the pelvis, in fact. You wouldn't generally see the vagus as being a nerve which innervates the sexual organs in the pelvis, but in fact, if you've done anatomy, you can see, and dissection work, you can see there's a very close connection between the two. In fact, there's an intimate connection between the diaphragm for breathing and the pelvic floor. They work very closely in harmony. So having this gut-brain superhighway firing properly has an effect on pretty much every fundamental aspect of our health, through obviously cognitive functions. So vagus nerve therapy is being looked at for things like Alzheimer's and dementia, right through breathing and heart rate. So it's being used for cardiovascular disease, and right down into all the metabolic organs in the gut. So it's also being viewed with interest for irritable bowel syndrome, for chronic fatigue, for things like obesity, diabetes, etc. So the medical implications of the vagus nerve for electrical stimulation are profound. But what we're interested in is the ability for the body to self-regulate and self-heal just by going into a passive relaxed state, which is where all healing then takes place.
Awesome. So, I mean, it goes far deeper. It goes far deeper, which is really interesting to hear you explain it in this way, because obviously I know that we had several conversations, and I've been using it for quite a while and heard a lot of different things online. I've done a review on it actually versus another device, and how they're so different, even though people seem to think they're the same. And it's really interesting to hear from you in that way described as to how much more connected it is. And one of the things a lot of people seem to report with Sensate actually is that their digestive issues resolve or get significantly better, which is one thing that always, again, resonates with me. And I mean, I agree from a personal experience. I mean, that ties in obviously with the vagus nerve and digestive system.
Yeah, I guess the things that people report most are better sleep is probably the single most common user feedback. But yeah, digestive issues like IBS. I mean, we don't say we treat it, but people tell us that their digestive issues clear up or feel significantly better. Headaches. I mean, anything associated with this gut-brain superhighway has a reasonable chance of being positively impacted.
Yeah. Excellent. So just talk me through, first of all, I'd like to know a little bit, or should I say, the audience should know, really, tell me a bit more about the device, and if you've got one that you can show us hanging around somewhere. I'm sure you have got one on your desk.
Yeah, here is the, oops, this one's got a sticker on the back because we're doing some testing. Yeah, this is the current Sensate. You just, there's a little button there, you just turn it on. Feel a nice little kind of click, little thump, little heartbeat as it turns on. And you can use the lanyard, obviously, to adjust it to whatever height you want on your chest. Because there's a zone of about sort of 6-8 inches on the sternum here, the chest bone, where it can sit. But generally speaking, we suggest, and people feel nice when they just simply lie back, put their headphones on, It comes with a little bean bag, which you go over the eyes, so you can just really completely chill out and just pop them and then play whichever track you want on the app.
Yeah, and so tell me about the how many different tracks or what the plan is with that, because I know that with several different devices, and I'm not talking in this kind of area, but they have 5 or 6 different soundtracks, and then you have to subscribe to new ones and things like that. So how is it you guys work?
Yeah, so we write all the content ourselves. A guy called Mig, who's a kind of bit of a musical genius who lives hidden in a forest, gets and meditates. I'm not joking. Meditates and gets these kind of tracks, appear in his brain. And he's developed this way of combining and synchronizing what you hear in the headphones with what you feel on the body. Yeah. So if I turn the Sensate on, you don't hear anything. But if we had toucho zoom, you could feel it humming and resonating. So it's that combination of the felt sense, the subaudible stuff below 30 hertz, and then there's a lot of neuroprocessing stuff built into the audio tracks, much of which you don't hear, but it's kind of, again, subconscious but not subaudible information which is harmonizing the 2 hemispheres of the brain. Generally, we say 10 minutes once a day is the kind of use case. That's what we suggest people do. We find that many people use it much more than that, because the experience itself is very pleasant. And that was really the conclusion I came to after really looking at this problem, the problem of meditation, right, for over 10 years in clinic, and the number of people who really were struggling to meditate. I can't tell you how many times people say to me, "Oh, I've tried to meditate and it doesn't work for me," or "I've tried the apps and I actually feel worse." And so the whole use case for Sensate was built around all these people that I believe need to be helped. Because while we're locked into this stressed and fearful and anxious state, we're not going to change the world. We're not going to take the actions that are necessary to change the world in a positive way. So the 10-minute a day use case is all you need to do to have a measurable change on important biometrics.
So I think the way I'd explain it for the guys that are watching, like, what is this device like? What does it feel like? I would say it's like having a little kitten purring on your chest. I would say tiger, but that's probably a bit more scary for some people. I would probably say it's like a little kitten purring on your chest, or a little dog sleeping on your chest, actually, in terms of the vibration. And if you guys are watching it now, if you sit and imagine that for a second, how calming that is to you just by thinking about it. That's how powerful it is. It really does put you into that state. And that's really what I feel every time. And I think the other thing is that because it's a device, and this is the Kindle versus a real book for me, is if you have a real book, it's there on the side, you see it, you've invested in it, and you can pick it up. Whereas if it's on your iPad, it's just your iPad. It's not there staring at you in the front of your face, and it's not easy to trip over. And that's where I think with Sensate, for me, is it's so easy, and I genuinely am a very regular user and a big advocate of this. As my followers know, I only promote things that I really love. I don't take commissions for anything that I sell or help sell. All I do is invite exhibitors like yourself or brands I love to the summit to exhibit. And that's why the whole audience can enjoy the things that I enjoy and have tested. So I love taking it when I travel. It's so easy to carry. And I know that the newer version of it is much better because you can't switch it on by accident in your bag like the old version, which I really appreciate very much. And also putting it on the bedside table with the little bean bag, which is awesome, by the way, it's such a nice little touch, is brilliant, because every day when I go in to get into bed, I'm so strict with my routine. If it's not there, I might not remember, but when it is, obviously I do, and I pick it up and I'm like, yes, and I look forward to it. So that's another thing, is versus just an app without any device or anything else. And the other element is that we value that which we pay for, and we don't value that we get for free. And when you invest in a device like the Sensate, for instance, we feel like we own it, and then we utilize it and actually benefit from it for our health more, which is another thing that I like, because there's a lot of different apps out there that you can get that just do half of it without the device part. And that's what I like for compliance, of seeing people actually using it. And I think this goes back to one of our first conversations. I said to you, "Oh, how is the uptake? Like, how are people actually, getting on with it? Are they actually using it on a regular basis?" And you said the stats at the time about how many people are actually using it and coming back to it, which is awesome. I don't know if you've got an update on that, or if you want to share where kind of like.
Yeah, well, my CEO and my co-founder Anna Goodmanson comes mostly from an app background. And actually, it was the app usage stats that convinced her that this was a company that was viable, not just a company that had ethics and a product that she wanted to support. And I take her word for it because I know nothing really about app stats, but she informs me reliably that the usage and the stickiness and the engagement of the product is unprecedented. In her words, you don't see people using devices and apps like this in the way that people use ours. And listen, if we could do it with just an app, trust me, we would, because it would be a lot easier. But we and I love the apps that have made mindfulness and meditation and relaxation mass items to think about doing. Yeah, so people now have on their kind of 5 a day of things they should do. They've got sleep properly and relax properly and and eat properly and all these things, and and actually meditate or relax or take time to breathe is on most people's daily list of things they need to do. But it's actually although it's very simple in theory, it's actually very, very difficult to do. Genuinely relaxing and going into a profound, deep, relaxed state is exquisitely difficult because of the nature of modern life. We've got so much on our minds, we've got so many reminders chasing us, and using your relaxation app can become another thing to do. So it can actually become a burden rather than something which is beneficial for you. So, I've got a personal mission to have benefited 100 million people by 2025. The company itself is a bit more modest, but that is my own personal ambition. Because we need to affect a tipping point amount of people. We're not here. Sensate's not here to have a few thousand users who feel great. We're here to have a lot of users whose lives we've changed. And to do that, you can only do that with hardware. The hardware is essential. We checked this. You can't physiologically achieve the same level of outcome using just an app that you can with the hardware plus the app. We've tried.
I quite believe it. Well, this is where biohacking is so awesome. It's using nature and technology, or using technology to mimic nature, or a combination of the two. And I think this is where they intersect very, very well. Very, very well. So yeah, I think obviously you guys can meet you at the summit. You're going to be exhibiting in September, which is going to be awesome. But what we've done in the run-up, because it's actually something I reached out to you a few months ago, is because I think a lot of people it's been anticipated for a long time, because they were on pre-order last year, weren't they? And a lot of people were trying to get one. It was really interesting how many people did. And now obviously it's available. I did an offer with you, or we worked out a deal to do a ticket bundle actually for the summit. So you can buy a ticket and a Sensate device together as a bundle. And I think that was only something like £50 more than a ticket on its own, which is a very special deal. And we only had a certain amount of them, and I think we've got about 10 left as it stands. So instead of $299 just for the standard early bird ticket, it's $349 with a Sensate device. Now, how much are the devices usually, Stefan?
They're £199 at the moment. That's the standard. That's the kind of new website offer price. They're now, I think it's about, you get them within a week. So with the turnaround time, and that's worldwide, I think. So the turnaround, and in the UK, it's often within 3 or 4 days. So we're now selling from stock, and it's the latest version of the device. Which, by the way, one of the main changes is the battery life. So the battery will last a week now, which I'm happier with.
Amazing. So, check out, if you guys want to see a bit more information on the site, we've obviously got a link from our website, and it's summit.healthoptimisation.com, and then you'll see the ticket bundles, and we do one device and a ticket for $349, or with the VIP as well. The VIP is the same usual price. And so yeah, so we've got 10 of those left, and once they're gone, they are actually gone, because we lose money on our ticket prices by doing this bundle. But I thought it would be such a nice idea to make it available to people that said, well, I can afford a Sensate, or I can afford a ticket, but I can't afford both. Well, here's your way to be able to have both nicely.
Well, listen, I think we're all looking forward to the summit. It's going to be great to be at a real event after the best part of a year of not having been at one.
Yeah. So where can people find you guys, Stefan? What's the website?
So getsensate.com is our global website. Go there, and you can just put your own currency. And so we ship pretty much worldwide. UK, Europe, and America are our main markets. But most places can order a Sensate. Yeah, so getsensate.com.
Yeah, and you're on Instagram as well, which is where I follow you the most, because that's where I'm most active.
Sure, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, and I think that's Get Sensate, I think, from memory, on Instagram, isn't it?
I think it's My Sensate.
My Sensate.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'm obviously Tim Biohacker. So if you guys want to follow me over there, if you don't already, and check out Sensate. So Stefan, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really awesome to catch up and hear it from the horse's mouth directly, so to speak. And
Tim, great to be here.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing you in person when it's legal to do so, and at the summit later on this year as well.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Tim.
Yeah, take care. Thanks, mate.
All the best.